liking this.
What do you think? I see your fingers a tapping. Welcome, welcome, everybody. We are here today to eat and drink our way around San Diego, and we're going to be talking food in real time with Edwin Rial of the most delicious food group on Facebook called Eating and Drinking in San Diego. Welcome, Edwin.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks for coming in today.
Of course.
Yeah, how have you been?
I've been good.
Good.
Summer started.
Summer started. There's good food to be had.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
The weather's perfect.
The weather's perfect. Time to be eating more food, drinking more drinks.
Dad bod.
Really
strong.
good, really good. Edwin, take me back. When did you think we first met? Because in this whole...
I think it was about 2008.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Is that when
Maybe
you...
even earlier.
Earlier.
Yeah, I had my pastry shop, and so we used to do catering.
Yep.
And that's when I first signed up with an account with you guys over in Mission Hills.
Yeah,
And
that is a long
so
time ago.
That must have been about 2005.
yeah. That is really good, Edwin.
Yeah.
Well, let's start back. Like, are you from San Diego? Tell us a little bit about your background and how you started the pastries. Then we'll get to where you are now.
So I was born in Manila.
Okay.
But I lived in Canada for several years, and then I came here, grew up here basically, and then sometime after high school, I went to live in France for a little bit, and I saw the great cheeses and breads
Did you?
and
You just...
desserts.
Wow.
And worse is that I was not rich on, being a high school kid. There's no money to be had.
Right.
So I scraped by eating relatively good cheese, and I was like, this is fantastic.
This is cool.
And then I come home, and then, a couple of years later, you basically opened up shop.
Yeah.
And what's his name over at Bread and Sea? Charles at Bread and Sea.
Yeah.
And I always thought those two were like a godsend for me coming home from Europe, and then all of a sudden this is in my sphere again.
Yeah.
And so I always had the dual, Venissimo and
bread.
and bread
And pastry.
and
And
pastries.
Mhm.
But then I worked in insurance for a good portion of my life.
Yeah.
And then one day it was Bastille Day. And so I knew it was
That's
a sign.
crazy.
My mom comes up and says, calls me up at work and says, "Hey, are you interested in, getting into pastries?"
That's crazy.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
"What do you mean?" And she goes, "My friend is selling a pastry shop, just open, and he's got tendinitis."
That is a sign.
And so
That's like we want to say, that's density. That's
Yeah.
destiny.
That's destiny. And so I go and visit this place. I fall in love with it. I cash out everything, and I buy this business
Yeah.
cash.
Oh my gosh.
And so I ran it for like 5
Right.
years, and it's in Otay. It was in Otay.
I remember
Ranch.
visiting you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And
And-
5 years you did that.
5 years.
Yeah.
And we
Well, what was your favorite part about that? Like, was it the breads, or was it the baking itself, or
that
yeah.
got old real quick.
Real
you
quick.
know?
Yeah. Interesting.
Your hours are
Sure.
crazy. My favorite part actually was being a shopkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was about being a part of the community, bringing in jazz from local musicians, bringing in politicians so they could talk to the people in the community.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be that old school shop owner that you see in England and you see in France. And
Yeah,
you know,
where people coming in saying, "Hey, Edwin, how are you
Right.
today?" And you're like, "Hi, Joan, how are you today?" Yeah.
and I've seen these kids, in 5 years, you see them from being
Sure.
5 years old to being 10 years old. And, each year you're giving them, strawberries, and then they want cakes, and then they want,
And then they want foie gras. What happened? Yeah.
right? So that's kind of, that was my favorite part of it is
Oh, nice.
the idea of being a part of a community.
Yeah, being the part of the community and bringing people together, and your personality for talking to all the people that obviously shines through, and that's what you loved. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a social person by nature. And so I left the baking to the people who are better bakers.
Sure.
I got into baking because it was technical. I was an IT professional.
Yeah.
And so if someone told me, "Oh, there's a French restaurant," I probably wouldn't have done it. But because baking is such a technical skill,
Yeah.
I thought it could transfer my skill set over.
Interesting.
And so I did it, and it was an experience, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it for the world. Some of my best friends are still people that I met through the shop,
Yeah.
and
And gosh, the stuff you learned, like you said, I mean, in doing that, there's a note to people that maybe are thinking, oh, I would love to have a bakery or a patisserie or something, to know the realities of doing that business, the hours, the earliness, that technical side of things. It's interesting, right?
I had never worked in a restaurant before.
Crazy. And then, yep, I'll just open it.
I'll just open it. And so, like, what you don't realize is the busiest days are the days that you want off. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving, evenings, Saturdays and Sundays.
Right.
And those are when you're, probably the most profitable.
Sure.
And so for 5 years, I was celebrating on February 12th.
Exactly. This is my Valentine's. My Christmas will be the 28th.
Right. And, my son is out there being producer. We actually...
Awesome.
It was almost the last 2 years before we closed. I had, we didn't get to celebrate Christmas. So one of the things we decided, his mom and I, was we weren't gonna find out what gender he was.
Gonna be a surprise.
It was our thing. It was our Christmas present to each other. So we never knew. Our parents gave us a lot of grief over that. Like, we just want to buy blue or pink. That's all.
Just
buy green, buy yellow.
Exactly. It'll be fine.
He'll be fine. And so it was one of those great surprises, like opening up.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's one of the biggest surprises, right? What do we got?
It's a boy. And that's when the tears.
Sure. So really, really spectacular. How old is he now?
He's now 10.
So now 10. So he's been through a lot of this with you in this adventure. And
after the bakery closed, there was 2 years from the time he was born to the time we closed that I didn't really get to spend time with him.
Yeah.
So instead of taking another insurance job right after closing, I decided, you know what, I'm going to take 8 months off and, watch him grow, raise him.
How super.
Go to Mystic Mocha every morning and, get familiar with the neighborhood.
Priceless, like they say.
And now him and I have a pretty incredible bond.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to grow up to be a pretty awesome dude.
Yeah.
And
he's got a good role model.
His mom is great.
I think you probably play a part of it.
We all do. I mean,
great.
I go to bars and restaurants with him, during off hours, and they all know him. And, I know he's going to have a job in the restaurant industry at some point, washing dishes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wish it upon him to be in the kitchen in the back of the line, back of the house, just because I know how hard
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
you've seen it.
It'd be great if he did something like washing dishes for high school money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sure. So take us, you took the time off, so you got to spend time with Felix. Then what spurred this eating and drinking in San Diego, and how did you really start that? Because this is a private group on Facebook that's dedicated to, you're just sharing everything about food, in San Diego, from high end, low end, middle end, here, there, everywhere. It's real interesting. So tell us how that kind of seed got planted in your brain and how you kind of started that.
So, when I was doing my pastry shop, I learned a lot about marketing because you have to be yourself. You're
doing it all.
You're the best promoter of your business.
Sure.
And so I learned a lot about how to market, how to email, how to do all this. I dated a food writer for a little bit, and I realized what that entailed. That she was trying to do it right, but there were so many other people out there that weren't doing it right, that would base a review on a one-time thing based on 2 dishes, and they're either going to kill or praise this person, good or bad.
Sure.
And how is that fair? And how is it fair when a restaurant gets slammed on a review when they first open? I mean, there's all these things that I personally saw that I wasn't pleased with in San Diego for food writing and food reporting.
That's so interesting.
And so part of what I wanted to do was take what I knew was right and my love of small businesses more than food. Food is important to me, but I saw how much suffering you go through as a small business owner.
Sure.
And I wanted to kind of change the dynamic of how people discussed food and talked about food. And so you see a lot of the things that I champion on EDSD is about, people that don't have a marketing budget.
Sure.
You know, it's a little hole in the wall in City Heights that does good food, consistent food,
Yeah.
really affordable that you can go to a few times a week if you really
Mm-hmm.
wanted to.
Right.
And, you know,
You're giving them a forum to showcase, their stuff, right? I mean,
and
you're
they don't even
sharing
know
their
it.
information, right? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
they
Yeah.
don't know it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I go into a lot of places with my hat, sweats, and I don't want to introduce myself as anybody,
Yeah.
you know, because I want the experience to be authentic and real.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, if you know, go in and, you know, you want to be treated special, you shouldn't be in this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Obviously, it's harder and harder because people are in the group. Because when I started the group, part of it was as a rebuttal against Yelp,
Yeah.
you know?
Interesting.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted a duality where there was, um, you know, I was telling someone earlier out there how it's great when, you know, because it's so industry heavy,
Mm-hmm.
if you go on there and you know, slam a restaurant, you don't know if the next person that's going to reply to you is the owner, and that makes it self-policing,
Yeah.
you know?
Sure.
And
Mm-hmm.
if you have a bad experience and you don't do something about it in the point at the point of sale at the restaurant, why are you going to come onto this page and
And just
start it,
blah,
right?
exactly, and throw out the venom.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
couple of things that I've been
Yeah.
trying to influence in my own way on this platform is I want people to stop talking about the best. The best is so subjective and
Mm-hmm.
so
Sure.
unrealistic.
Yeah.
If you say the best, it becomes something where it's defensive, it's tribal, it's all these things that cause people to
And then
not
be
talk.
against. If they're the
Right.
best, then who's the worst? And then it's,
Or
yeah.
no, mine is
Mm-hmm.
the best,
Exactly.
right? So
And what
if
does
you,
best mean?
what does the best mean?
Mm-hmm. Right, right.
That's what I always ask.
Yeah.
What do you consider the best?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so what I started doing on EDSD was trying to tell people that what is your favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So now it becomes a dialogue.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I want dialogue, you know?
And I've got to say, that's what's so awesome about that group is that it's a discussion.
Yeah.
And anyone can discuss, from the business owner to just anyone that just happened to be there to conversing with you and your experience there. And that's really awesome.
So
it's
if,
a true,
if someone
yeah.
comes onto this page and says, oh, Venissimo's cheese is so expensive,
Mm-hmm.
well, you can go on there and go, hey, you know what? We're making 6% on each of these, you know, each transaction.
Sure.
Is it really expensive?
Yeah.
You know, we're not
Could have the
making-
discussion.
Right. Have the
Mm-hmm.
discussion. And people then realize I shouldn't really talk about things
Yeah.
that I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Right.
And I always say that I'm a recovering hater. And
You
that-
were a hater? Were you really? Yeah,
I
you
was.
think?
Recovering, and
was
it comes out.
Yeah, it comes out. Were you a hater before you had your shop? And then did that show you that different perspective, you think?
Yes.
Maybe.
I s-
Yes, being on the other side of the equation.
Yeah, on the other
Mhm.
side of the counter, you
Mhm.
know that every transaction is a way to make things better or worse
Yeah.
as a shop owner, as an operator.
Mhm.
So the hating kind of dissipated at that point because I
Yeah.
realized, oh my goodness, I could lose my business if I don't, you know, if I don't act
Right.
right all
Yeah.
the time.
Mhm.
And so what I learned to do was only hate what I knew,
Mhm.
meaning that I don't want to talk, you know, smack about something
Yeah.
when in reality I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
But it's okay to talk smack if you do know something about it.
Exactly.
You
And
know?
to pose a question, why is this happening? Or
Why-
you've done that a number of times,
Yeah.
with just different questions and then it gets people to discuss it. And you'll
I-
hear different stories of why something might be, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I do believe that
like that.
I don't, as many people that are on the group, I'm sure a lot of people don't like me, you know?
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
because I am opinionated and I do
Mhm.
have some very strong things to say sometimes.
Sure.
But ultimately, I think what I'm trying to do is keep pushing San Diego forward when it comes to food because
Mhm.
in San Diego, I think part of the reason why we don't have a national reputation of being a food
Mhm.
town is look at the writers that are here. Look at look how people are talking about it in publications on blogs.
Mhm.
I don't think there's great food in San Diego with great
I
chefs.
think
and
super.
great,
Right. Mhm.
But how do you get to a level without those people being pushed up?
Yeah.
You know, and they have to be held accountable and they have to be critical.
Mhm.
And it's not just this kumbaya and everyone is just kind of circle jerking about how this is great and how that is great, but there's really no criticism, And I think we have to be critical
Yeah.
of what's good and what's bad,
Right. And talk about why that is. Yeah. Which is really great.
And how often do you hear in San Diego, oh, we don't have this and we don't have that, but hell, we have the best beer in town.
Yeah.
In the country.
Super.
We have some of the best produce and we have some of the best seafood. We have things here we should be celebrating.
Sure.
And instead we're saying, oh, we don't have the Chinese food that New York does. And we don't have,
Just don't know where to look for them or find them, right? Because they are here. And I feel that that's what you champion is some of those things that everyone knows about the big name restaurants in town. Those get written about and promoted all the time, right?
Because of the marketing budget.
Yeah, exactly, which goes back to that.
Yeah.
But to be the small pho shop, City Heights that is fabulous, but they don't have the time, the resources to promote. But then something like this can promote that and bring it out. Yeah.
Ultimately, it's about like uncovering things. Like every week I find things in the threads on EDSD that, leave me going, I've lived here for 15 years and I've never...
I didn't even know this.
15 years. I've lived here for 30 years and I don't even know...
Sure, that this exists.
That it exists.
So how does that happen? How do you... Are you constantly finding the next thing because you'll read something that someone might post? Or how are you finding all these places?
So I am really active on the threads, just looking for... people acting up, people saying rude stuff.
Yeah.
And in that process, I see things. I see food and I see people. Or I will, I've created a series of polls that then turned into a series of maps that I will eventually launch somewhere.
Oh, nice. I voted on some of the polls.
Right. I saw. But, it's like I want to say, okay, what are your favorite places in North Park and South Park?
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, all these places. And I know those places are going to, run the gamut. But then I go, what are your favorite places in Solana Beach?
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about North County, so I start getting things like that. Or what are your favorite places in Convoy? And there's so much rich food on Convoy.
Favorite.
That I go to 5 places. So I use my own page to get,
recommendations, insight. Yeah, no, that's really, it feeds itself,
totally.
if we may say, in a eating way. Exactly.
Have you heard of any good cheese shops in San Diego?
There's this place called Venice.
Have you heard of it? Phew, I'm glad.
I've been a long time fan, as you know.
Yeah.
Just because,
I appreciate it.
Cheese is something that is so awesome, and it's probably the reason why I can never be vegan, is because I love cheese. Like I could go days without eating meat.
Yeah.
But butter and cheese are
good butter, right?
It's like makes everything better.
Yeah.
And so those two things help me
stay on the
stay on this side.
But
I do think eating well is important. A lot of times people will meet me for the first time and say, how the hell are you not 500 pounds? I see what you
exactly.
eat.
That's it.
But what people don't realize is I'm trying to do portion control.
Right. I really am just tasting all of this. And
and I would be 500 pounds if I didn't, if I didn't have a filter and if I didn't have some kind of self-discipline. And it's really hard because some foods are really good.
Yeah, really good, right? And there's so much of it and so many of it, so much, so little time and space, right? This is the way I see it. Yeah, so much good stuff. I'm glad you answered the 500-pound question, though, because that was one that I was wondering myself. It's like I see them and it's just great. Yeah, just really great. What do you think about some of the trend stuff? Like, I know you sometimes talk about trends and, we've got the gluten-free everything, organic everything. Do you talk more trends or more just places and things?
I try not to follow trends in that, it is what it is. People need something to latch onto. What I try to do is just look for good quality values. And value doesn't mean cheap. It means if I pay for something, it's exactly what it should be. So I could have a great $100 steak at Cowboy Star.
Right.
But in its own way, it's a value, because I know I'm going to get great service. I know I'm going to be
the
in a clean
ambiance and
totally.
Sure.
And so, people think, oh, I go to Cowboy Star, it's expensive, blah, blah, blah. But it's not. You know what is expensive when you go to a restaurant and you have such a crappy experience, the waiter sucks, the food's cold, and whatever you spend, either $5 or $55, that food is not a value because you didn't have a great experience.
Yeah. Do you think, I feel that there's so much, those are some big elements of a success of any restaurant. The food, of course, being really good. That ambiance, right? And then that experience, like you said.
Yeah.
What is it, the Cuatro Milpas in Barrio?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no ambiance there, but there really is ambiance there in a different way.
You're eating inside of a tortilla factory.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And that's just so crazy, and that's awesome, delicious, Mexican food. As opposed to, say, like a Romanesco?
Romesco?
Romesco. I say it wrong every time. A whole different experience, great food, whatever. But both you would find valuable in both of those, something value in both.
Today's Tuesday. They have a half off all appetizers and tapas today. So
who does?
Romesco.
I gotta go. That's another one. Do you know all the best happy hours, best specials like that? Tuesdays this day, Wednesdays this day.
I try to keep up on it, and I'm not ever going to be the king of happy hour or any king of appetizers, but I do try to keep a mental note, and I try to at least. If someone, because everyone asks, part of the reason why I did start this group also is I was being a concierge for everybody that I knew.
I believe it. Give me your favorite this. Tell me your favorite that.
And so I just lead people to my page now. Go join us. You can find whatever you want.
Yeah.
And Facebook has helped in a lot of ways, because there's this whole idea of people asking the same questions over and over and over again. So what I've led people to do is use the search function. It's there for a reason.
That's great. And you can really seek out then everything from in that, all the threads that you're talking about. You want to find out Convoy, everything about Convoy, type in Convoy, see what you get.
It all shows up. It's all logged.
Yeah.
And so it's helped in that way. And that was probably about 6 months after I started the group, that function started, and it was miraculous for me. Because,
Super. You yourself, I'm sure you've got archives of information. Because when did the group start?
January 2015.
So, I mean, you've got so much information in there. Encyclopedia. Yeah.
I think one of the good things about eating and drinking in San Diego is the fact that it's all San Diegans mostly.
Yeah. Okay, good. You're finding that. Yeah. Most people that join
it's not that
really
I'm finding that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curating that. I'm approving everybody that goes in there.
Okay, yep.
And one of the main components or checkoffs is lives in San Diego.
Perfect.
And so
they're eating, breathing, drinking here.
If it says born in San Diego or I don't know, from San Diego, I do a cursory thing to see if they're still here. Because like I said, the thing is called food in real time. So what does that mean? I don't want some person who was here 15 years ago talking about food today because they have no clue.
That's what Yelp could be for, right? Yeah.
So I want someone who actually is here, eating here, drinking here, talking about the food that's here currently.
Sure. Yeah, nice. No, that's super. Totally awesome. Right. Can you share any of your newest favorite finds? Have you explored? I mean, I know you've gone out of, say, downtown San Diego up to North County, South County. Any favorite find that just really jumps out at you? Or
I probably go to Ming Key.
Ming Key, where's Ming Key?
So it's on Menlo and El Cajon Boulevard.
Okay.
I love Chinese and I love chicken, noodle soups. Ooh. And it's probably my favorite. It's over pho, over ramen.
Okay.
Are these egg noodle soups.
Oh, gosh.
And so I've been hitting that place once or twice a week for the last year.
Yeah.
And it does not hurt that I live around the corner.
Oh, handy.
Yeah, Wednesdays are probably the darkest days of my week. It's because they're closed on Wednesdays. And so I have to plan it
Could you buy 2 on Tuesday and then?
I would be lying if I said I haven't done that.
Oh, that's really good. Okay, so an egg noodle soup. So that's different because the ramen trend is, of course, crazy everywhere. Yeah. Ramen, pho. Yeah. So egg noodle soup at Ming Key.
Yep.
Ooh, I'm going to have to check that out.
Menlo and El Cajon Boulevard and City Heights, Talmadge. everyone knows in the group that I have favorites such as the Balboa for hamburgers.
Oh, yes.
I love Grand Old Barbecue, and I love Biga.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
delish.
Yesterday, I had a pretty awesome Loco Moco at Chris's Ono Grind, and
Ooh.
so this is how my content is created on
Yeah.
that page. So we are at Chris Ono Grinds, my son and I. We're having lunch, and then I go, "Hey, I just saw Christiana over at Nomad. Let me go say hi to her." And so I go next door.
Then you gotta go. Yep.
You know, I go next door to see her, and there's donuts there, and
And you gotta have
I
one.
gotta have some donuts. And so as I'm, as I get home, I have an idea. It's called Neighbors. What businesses next door to each other are your favorites? And then it creates all this
yeah.
content,
The conversation.
the
Yeah.
conversation. And that's how content is created in my head.
Ah.
And I see content everywhere I look. And so,
Yeah.
it's I
Constantly.
I can't say I'm like a creative person. I just like
Observant. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, you're a very observant person, obviously. Yeah. And are you doing all this kind of on the fly? You must be on your phone like all the time. Like you're answering questions, approving people for the group, talking about your new find, right? Constantly.
So couple of like a year into this thing, I had to turn off my notifications on my phone.
Oh, I believe it.
Because
Yeah.
I'd wake up with like 250 notifications and it would give me agita every
Oh
morning.
my gosh.
And so I said, I'm not going to do this. And worst of all, like you're doing this and tick, 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 you hear it all night. So
Yeah.
I had to first silence my phone
Right.
and then turn off notifications on Facebook. And then now it's manageable. I wake up in the morning, look at it, make sure there's
Yeah.
there's no drama going on, and I'm like being tagged 15 times and reported posts and
Right.
all of this. But ultimately, I am probably one of the biggest users of high-speed internet data on T-Mobile's network.
I was gonna say, whose network are you?
Yeah.
Hey, you must be slowing mine down.
I probably am. Last month, I did 60 gigabytes of data.
Oh my gosh! Seriously? Did they get mad at you?
It's called instead of mad, they call it throttling.
Throttling. Yeah, exactly. You've been throttled.
Yeah, but like I'm on there. I use it like when
Yeah.
I'm at a coffee shop working. Instead of using their Wi-Fi, I just use my
Yeah.
phone as a tether, and so I do use a lot of data.
Yeah, and just to be able to share
Yeah.
all that information. That's really, really awesome. What do you think? I just had one thought. Food trucks. Why do you think those haven't taken off here? Somebody had asked that the other day. Like, I'm going to ask Edwin. Do you go to many of them that are around? You just don't see it anymore. Not here.
I think food trucks are not. A couple of years ago, I don't know who did it. It might have been the California Restaurant Association. They started cracking down
Yeah.
on food trucks and passed city regulations to kind of help combat that. That's a huge factor. And now you're seeing another one where pop-ups are being
Oh, yeah.
kind of tamped
Are
down.
they getting squished?
Over in breweries. And, I firmly believe that's part of it. Another part of it is the fact that some of our food trucks are just not good. There's probably about 5 to 10 food trucks that I would actually eat at.
That really like, because there is a difference between a food truck and a roach coach, right?
You know,
Remember that term?
I kind of love roach coaches because, like in high school, I worked at a factory and,
And you would go down to the
there's
coach,
nothing
right?
like a $3 burrito at
Yeah.
the 9 o'clock break. I mean,
Right.
let's
Nope.
not be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
pretentious about anything.
Yeah. There's one I love, Edwin. I don't know the name of it. It's like on Broadway and maybe 15th, 16th.
Yes.
I love that. The tacos there.
Yeah.
I wish I
forget
knew the name.
It's a
Would
Morisco's
love
truck,
to.
right?
Oh, it is. I think
Yeah.
so. Thank you. I love that place.
Are you guys still living downtown?
Yep, live downtown, so it's fun to see everything that's happening. On the food scene, though, it's funny and it's sad how many come and go.
Right.
You've got the ones that are just in and they're successful from the gate, and then there's some that come in and you just have such high hopes, and then away they go. I know, in and then out, in and out. It's really tough downtown. I don't know what
I
and
find
why.
I find it weird and mysterious that like three restaurants that started pre 2008 when the recession hit in East Village are three of the most successful restaurants in East Village, right? You have Cowboy Star, you have Cafe Chloe,
Chloe,
and
yeah.
you have Neighborhood,
Neighborhood, yep.
right? And those
All
three
going.
are neighborhood just celebrated, I think, 10 years.
I
this
think
year.
so.
You know,
Yeah.
they had that party last on the 17th. Um, but people are like, "Oh, East Village is, is not
And
great."
that's where we are, and I want it to be great. Yeah.
I think it's getting there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's really good restaurants in East Village,
Mm-hmm.
and I think those are three of the best restaurants
Yeah.
in town.
In the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were trendsetters because they came in when that area was even worse, scarier kind of than it is now. And so it's really great to see them still continue their success.
Especially
You're right.
Cowboy Star,
Yeah.
because now they're getting national attention.
Yeah.
And I remember neighborhood being, I lived on 6th and F for years, and
So literally around the corner.
it was my drinking hole.
Yeah.
It was my local, and I feel that was the launching point for our salon and Consortium Holdings.
Sure.
And from there, look at where they are now. They're fantastic.
Yeah, what a interest. They have such a personality, and they've done it right. It's a good example of what great food in San Diego can be, right?
100%. And
Yeah.
the thing is, you walk into any CH property and you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You feel the style, the ambiance.
Yep.
You feel like the food
The
is
purpose.
the purpose,
Mhm.
and people are like, oh, they don't serve ketchup, they don't serve ramen, or they don't have spoons, they
Where's
don't
my
serve vodka.
ketchup? Please.
And
Yeah.
but guess what? You remember that they don't.
You do, you do, and then you kind of appreciate that that's the place that I'm gonna get this,
Right.
and not gonna get this.
And it's
True. Yeah.
it's I think it's kind of funny that
Yeah.
they have that reputation of not
It's
doing
true,
something,
but then everyone knows them.
but everyone knows them.
Yeah,
and
brilliant.
It's
Yeah,
brilliant.
genius. Yeah. Oh, I think, having a purpose. Cowboy Star, you are going to get the best cuts of meat anywhere, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's that purpose, that clear sense of what you're going to get when you're there. I think that separates some of the good ones from
You,
not.
you know what separates Cowboy Star from a lot of places? Like we were talking earlier about your guy Rob,
Mhm.
how he's been there for almost the whole time you've been open.
Yeah,
you know.
almost too high than I can count.
But
Yeah.
at Cowboy Star, there's at least 3 or 4 people that have been there from the very beginning, not
Yeah.
including Chef Victor, Angie, and John. But Angie has been there for a long time.
Sure.
Garth has been there for a long time.
Oh,
and
right.
Josh has been
My
there for a
gosh.
long time. Doug has been there for a long time.
It's a family.
It's a family, and
yeah.
they care for each other. And there's a lot to be said about having a team that sticks around to where they become the people who train the next
Right.
server, the next chef, the next general manager.
Yeah.
And
Promote that passion, promote that
it's a
sense
culture,
of culture. Sure.
And how important is it walking into a place and them knowing, or you walking in there knowing this is what I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
People always bash on Starbucks, but I can go to Starbucks for clean bathrooms, and I can go there knowing that
Yeah.
that same burnt taste is going to be the same in Dallas or Des Moines or Dubuque.
Good point.
know?
Yeah.
And
Good point.
I
Yeah.
said, I worked in insurance, and the DOI used to tell us all the time, the Department of Insurance, we don't care if you treat people bad, just treat everyone bad. It's about consistency.
So be consistent. The lesson for today, everyone out there in the world of food, be consistent. I love it. I love it, Edwin. Well, I think there's going to be a lot of people that might want to join the group. How would they do that?
So what they can do, and so for a long time there were 10,000 members, just under 10,000.
Congratulations. Whoosh.
9,999, and I kept it artificially at that place because I always thought, oh my goodness, if it was 10,000, I'm going to just lose my head. And so in the time that I didn't add
Yeah.
anybody else, there is now 3,500 member requests.
Holy cow.
And so if you really want in, my name is Edwin Real. I'm on Facebook. Send me a direct message. I might see it and just say, hey, look, I heard
Yeah.
about you on Gina's show, and I want to join your group.
Yeah.
And I'll probably let you in.
Probably. And if not, they can still snoop down the page, right? And read
no,
some things. Or
actually,
no,
it's
it is
closed.
closed completely.
Yeah.
Okay, so cross your fingers, everybody. Be nice to Edwin.
You know. Yeah. I know when I do these things, I don't do them very often.
Yeah.
I do them for people that I care about
Yeah.
and appreciate
Totally
and
understand.
respect. So every time I do something that gets me out there, I get
Yeah.
1,000 requests.
Sure,
you
sure,
know,
sure.
500 requests when I did the UT. I actually got, I think, 1,200 requests in,
Oh my
you know,
goodness.
in
Yeah.
the 3 weeks that it was
Yeah.
being
That's
displayed.
so people love food. They want to talk about food. And,
San Diego
yeah.
loves food.
Yeah.
You know, and I think part of the problem is we are so transient as a city that the people who love food leave, and then
New ones come in, have to learn all over again where
Right.
to go, who to, what to, yeah.
where this group is now kind of permanent, and so what ends up happening is now there's a source for knowledge,
Right,
and
right,
for,
right.
you know, where the good food is in
Yeah.
San Diego.
No, it's really super. And there's a ton of it out there. So I guess encourage everybody to go try some of it, all these great places, and
Give
everyone a chance. Yeah,
you know?
give everyone a chance. We're going to say that. I'm going to put that on the little blog post today. In the words of Edwin, give everyone a chance. So for that, everybody, thank you for tuning in to Noon on Tuesday. We really appreciate it. Thanks to the Specialty Produce Network for having us. If you're wanting to learn more, we're going to talking about Bastille Day and French cheeses. The next couple weeks, it's going to be live from Paris. We're going to be talking about French. So thank you, everybody. Bye, Edwin. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much. J'adore this.